Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our virtual Dirshu Mishnah Berurah here. We are holding in Mishnah Berurah Chelik Hey. Today's daf is Tzadik Aleph Amud Beis. We are beginning on the bottom of Tzadik Aleph Amud Aleph. We are continuing to learn Hilchos Pesach, and we begin today on the bottom line of the Shulchan Aruch on Tzadik Aleph Amud Aleph with Siman Taf Pei Dalet. Din Misha Roitza Lasos HaSeder B'Harbe Batim. The law regarding one who has a need to run a Seder in several different homes. Ubay Sif Echad, and here on this topic, we have one Sif. So we have an individual, maybe a Rav, or maybe a family member, a senior family member, who has a need to run a Seder in his own home, but he also has to go to several different homes and run a Seder in those homes as well. Maybe in those homes, you don't have somebody who knows what to do. So he's going to be running Sedarim in multiple homes. Says the Mechaber, Man de boy livruche betray oy betlas bati. Somebody who finds himself in a situation where he's required to make the brachos of the Seder in 2 or 3 different homes. Let's go right away to the Mishnah Berurah, Ois Katan Aleph. The Mishnah Berurah, the bottom line, Tzadik Aleph Amud Aleph, the Mishnah Berurah says, Man de boy, one who is required. What's going on here? You have a couple of homes where there are people there who don't know how to make Kiddush. They don't know how to say the Haggadah. Maybe they don't even know how to make a bracha b'rei priya gofen. Maybe this is a Rav in an out-of-town community where there are Yidden that are not so observant. They're maybe just finding their way back to Yiddishkeit. They don't know what to do. They didn't grow up with a Seder, and maybe they don't even know how to read the Aleph Beis. And they want to make a Seder, and certainly it's a wonderful opportunity and a wonderful mitzvah for somebody who is able to go help them and run a Seder. But he really has to go there and he has to run the Seder. If you take a look over here in the Dirshu Mishnah Berurah in footnote number 1, get back to the proper page. A very nice footnote here. The Mishnah Berurah said that he's going to these homes because in these homes, these individuals don't know how to make the brachas. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to say it. Now, the implication is, if they did know how, if somebody knows how to make Kiddush, so then he should not be giving it over to somebody else to do. This Rav, let's say, is going into this home because in this home, there's nobody who knows how to make Kiddush. So he wants to go there to make Kiddush, to be mitzi the people in Kiddush. They don't know how. Says the footnote, Visham Hispayer, Shem Hashoimim Kiddush Mimisha Kvar Yotza Yedei Chayvas Kiddush, Yoidim Lekadesh Ba'atzmam. If you would have a group of people who really know how to make Kiddush for themselves, but now they want somebody to be mitzi them in Kiddush, despite the fact that this person already made Kiddush for himself. Let's say the Rav. Let's say the Rav went home after davening and he made his own Seder. So he made Kiddush for himself and for his family. Now he's going into another home and he's making Kiddush again to be mitzi the people in that home. But he was already yotzi yedei chayvasai. He already fulfilled his obligation. For such a person to go be mitzi other individuals who really know how to make Kiddush for themselves, that's a b'diavad. Not only is it a b'diavad, there are those shittas that hold that somebody who knows how to make Kiddush himself cannot be yotzi Kiddush by somebody who already made Kiddush being mitzi him. If you know how to do it yourself, so then do it yourself. Vedasa Pri Chadash, the sheet of the Pri Chadash is Shebakol Oifin Yoichaloi Tziam Yidei Chayva, that no, somebody could always be mitzi somebody in Kiddush, even if the other individual knows how to do it by himself. Yes, somebody who already was yotzi Kiddush could be mitzi another person in Kiddush, even if that person really knows how to make Kiddush himself. Since the one who's making Kiddush doesn't need the Kiddush, and these other people really know how to make Kiddush themselves, mitzvah sheyikachu ba'atzmam. It would certainly be a bigger mitzvah that they should make Kiddush on their own. So here you have several different shittas, but that's why the Mishnah Berurah says over here that the case we're discussing is a case where the people that have this person coming to be mitzi them in Kiddush, they don't know how to make Kiddush on their own. That's why they have other people coming to be mitzi them. Okay, now the Shulchan Aruch is going to lay out how should this person who's traveling from house to house, what exactly should he do? Says the Shulchan Aruch, somebody who finds himself in a situation where he's going to have to recite the brachas of the Haggadah, Kiddush, etc., in 2 or 3 different homes. First, he should go to his own home, and first he should make the Seder in his own home, and he should make Kiddush for himself and his family, and he should make the bracha on the karpas for him and his family, and eat the karpas, etc., throughout the Seder. V'achil kol ma'id tzarich, and he should eat everything that he's required to eat. He should eat the karpas, he should eat the mitzi matzah, he should eat the maror, he should eat the karech. Umevarech berkas hamazon, he should eat his suda, he should eat his afikomen, and then he should bench. After he does all that, the hadar mevarech l'chol chad v'chad bebeisei. Then he could travel around to other houses, and he could go into each one of those houses and recite all of the brachas over again. So he made his own Seder. Now he could go over to the Cohens across the street, and he'll make Kiddush again. This Kiddush, he's not reciting Kiddush for himself, to be mitzi himself in Kiddush. He was already yotze his chiv of Kiddush. He's reciting Kiddush now only for the people in that home. V'shasu inhu kasa de Kiddusha, and the people in that home, they will drink the kais of Kiddush. He doesn't even have to drink Kiddush. He doesn't have to be tayyim from the ayin. Not only he doesn't have to, he's not supposed to, because he already ate his own afikomen. And ein maftir nachar pesach afikomen. He's not supposed to eat or drink after the afikomen and after the daled kaisais. So he's going to make Kiddush together with the bari priagafen, only to be mitzi the other people. They're going to drink Kiddush. Uda agadata, and he'll say the Haggadah, and he'll make the brachas on the kaisais, and he'll make the bracha on the karpas. He'll make the bari priadama on the karpas. Va'achli yarki, and they will eat the yerek, the vegetable of the karpas, umatzah, and they will eat the matzah. The ihu loi achel v'shasi bahadayu, and he will not drink and will not eat. So you understand, he's going to make Kiddush replete with the bari priagafen, and he's not going to drink wine. He's going to make a bari priya adama, and he's going to be mitzi the people around the table in the bari priya adama, but he's not going to eat karpas. He's going to make hamitzi and alachilas matzah, and be mitzi them, and he's not going to eat matzah, and so on and so on. He's going to recite all of the brachas, and we might see them. They'll say amen, and he will not eat and he will not drink. V'shavik lehu lemigmar seudasayu, and then he will leave them, so that then he'll let them finish their seudais. Umevarchu inhu birkas hamazon, and they will bench. V'ilo yadi, and if they don't know how to bench, we're talking about people who don't know how to make Kiddush, they don't know how to make a bari priya adama, maybe they don't know how to bench. V'ilo yadi, if they don't know how to bench, yikra mila b'mila, he will recite benching with them word for word. He'll say Baruch, they'll say Baruch, Ata, Ata, Hashem, Hashem, Hazan, Hazan, Es, Ha'olam, Ha'olam, and including Hashem's name. He'll say in all of these brachas, in all of the benching, everything, he can say Hashem's name. It's not a shame levatala, and this is not a bracha levatala. So v'ilo yadi yikra mila b'mila, v'hadar azal abeisa achrina, and then he could go to a second house, v'avid hachi, and he could do it again. He can make Kiddush again and make a bari priya adama again. He could do this all night. He could do it in 10 different houses. V'hadar azal abeisa, and then he can go back to his house, the gamar halela, and finish halel, v'shasi kasa da halela, and drink the 4th kais. V'bayil agdume. And if he wanted to, he could have done all that before he went out to others' houses. On the top line, it said over here, umavarich birkas hamazon, that he goes all the way through birkas hamazon, and then he goes to other houses. He doesn't have to stop at birkas hamazon in his own house. He could finish his whole Seder. and then go to other houses. The Shulchan Aruch said that he has to go through Birkas Hamazon. He cannot go to other houses before he benches in his own house, because he's not allowed to leave his house before he benches. But certainly if he wants, he doesn't have to stop after the third kais and then finish his Seder when he comes home. He could finish his whole Seder all the way till after Nirtzah before he goes out to other houses. Okay, now let's see the Mishnah Berurah. Says the Mishnah Berurah on Tzadik Aleph Amud Aleph on the bottom line, Mavarech Bereisha. So the Shulchan Aruch said, what is this individual going to do? First, he's going to run his own Seder. So first, he's going to make all of the brachas, and he's going to eat everything that he has to in his own house for his own Seder. Mavarech Bereisha, says the Chavetz Chaim, Hainu Shemekadesh, he'll make Kiddush, Va'omer Haggadah, and he'll recite the Haggadah, HaKol Keseder, everything in its proper order. Va'ochel matzah umarar, and he'll eat the mitzi matzah, and he'll eat the marar, va'afikomen, and he'll eat his afikomen, ad birkas hamazon. So he'll do everything in the typical normal way, and he'll go all the way through to the end of birkas hamazon. And the third kais, Eis Katan Gimel, umavarech birkas hamazon, he'll bench, v'shoisa hakais, and he'll drink kais shlishi. Now, here's the point that I made before. It says the Chavetz Chaim, u'beloi birkas hamazon, asar lakar mimkaima leilech l'makam acher. What the Shulchan Aruch is being very careful to tell you over here is that by his own Seder, he must go through his own Seder at least until after benching and the Kais Shlishi, because he's not allowed to leave his home before he benches. He washed, he ate matzah, and he had a Suda. He's not allowed to get up and leave his Suda without benching to go somewhere else. So he's got to bench and he's got to drink the third Kais. And this is true even if he has in mind, I'm going to go across the street to the cones, and I know I didn't bench yet. It's okay. I'm going to go across the street to the cones, and I'll eat something in the cones house. So I'll bench over there. No, you're not allowed to do that. Now, the reason you're not allowed to do this is because the Ramah paskins earlier in the halachas of Birkas Hamazon that you're not allowed to leave your home. If you washed and you ate a meal together with bread, so you have a chiv to bench, you're not allowed to leave your home before you bench, because we're afraid wherever you're going to forget to bench. So we don't let you do that. You got to leave, you got to bench first. Now, in the case where you have in mind that I'm going to go across the street and I'm going to continue my meal across the street, you might think that there is no such chash. Why should I worry that I'm not going to bench? I'm going across the street, I'm continuing my meal. Of course, after the end of the meal, I'm going to bench. We're not willing to rely on that lechatchila. You're in the middle of a meal, you have to bench before you go anywhere else. Ois Katan Dalet. Then the Shulchan Aruch said, V'hadar mevarech. Now, after you finished at least through benching in the third kais, now you could start Seder hopping. You could start going around other houses, and you could start running the Sedarim at different houses. The Hadar Mavarich, the Shulchan Aruch said, then go ahead and make the brachas in other people's houses. Says the Chavetz Chaim, what the Shulchan Aruch wants to say is, Shemekadesh lahem, now you could go to other houses and make kiddush for them. Umevarich lahem gam barei priagafen, together with the bracha of barei priagafen, even though you're not going to drink any wine. Umevarich lahem berkas karpas, and you could make the bracha ha'adama on the karpas, even though you're not going to eat karpas. V'arma lefneim ha'haggadah, and you'll do magid by them, so you'll read the Haggadah for them, you'll say some nice, beautiful divrei Torah for them, and then ubrechas koisheni. Then you'll make the bracha of Gal Yisrael, and you'll make the Bari Priagafen on the second kais. The Gam Berkas HaMoitzi, and you're going to make a HaMoitzi, and Uberkas Achilas Matzah, and you're going to make the bracha Asher Kedishanu b'mitzvos v'tzivanu al Achilas Matzah. Ubarar, and you're going to make the bracha on the Marar, even though you're not going to eat anything. Now, says the Chavetz Chaim, V'af al Gav, even though this seems very strange, V'af al Gav, even though the B'sha'ar Berchais Hanenin, when it comes to the typical Berchas Hanenin, Berchas Hanenin means literally a bracha that's based on enjoyment. When you make a shahakal niya b'dvaroi on a glass of water, you're making the bracha because you're going to be nana, you're going to derive pleasure and benefit from the water. And kala nana me'olam hazeh b'loi bracha kilu gazal mi'akadosh baruch hu u'mi Yisrael. You're a ganef from the Rabbeinu Shalom and from Klal Yisrael, chas v'chalila, if you're nana without a bracha. So Birchas HaNenin is a bracha that you make because you're going to derive pleasure and benefit from something. Now, typically, by Birchas HaNenin, Kaimalon, we paskin, Shein Yakel Levarech La'acherim, you can't be mitzi somebody else in a Birchas HaNenin, Ela Im Ken Yehane Imayan, unless you're going to get benefit together with them. So you want to be mitzi somebody in a Bari Priagafen? Typically, we say, yes, you could be mitzi somebody in a Bari Priagafen if you're going to drink wine as well. But if you're not going to be nene from yayin, you can't make a Bari Priagafen in order to be mitzi him because he's going to get anah from the yayin. You have to get anah from the yayin. That's the way we typically paskin. Yet over here, we're saying that this individual is going to make a hagafen without drinking wine. He's going to make a hadama without eating karpas. He's going to make a mitzi without eating pas. How does that work? So the Chavetz Chaim says, Shani berchas halechem shal matzah. The hamitzi on the matzah is different. The kiddush hayoim and the hagafen by kiddush is different. Shehem chayva, because tonight the berchas hanenin is a chiyuv. It's an obligation. It's part of an obligation of a mitzvah. You're not just making hagafen because you want to drink a tasty glass of Cabernet. You're making hagafen as part of the mitzvah of Kiddush. Indeed, very interesting. The Klausenberger Rebbe, Zechat Tzaddik V'Kadosh L'Vracha, has a very lengthy tshuva where he says that the din of the hagafen in Kiddush is a berchas hamitzvahs. It's not a berchas hanenin. It's a berchas hamitzvah. So it has other halachic ramifications as well. But in a way, in a sense, that's what the Chavetz Chaim is telling you here. The Chavetz Chaim is saying that the hamaitzi is not a normal hamaitzi of just a birchas hanenin. It's a chiyuv tonight. The individual who doesn't know how to make the hamaitzi, and I'm being mitzi him in the hamaitzi, he has a chiyuv to make a hamaitzi tonight. Normally, he doesn't have a chiyuv to make hamaitzi. He wants to eat a tuna fish sandwich. He doesn't know how to make hamaitzi, so he wants you to be mitzi him in making the hamaitzi. But it's totally voluntary. You know what? You don't know how to make a bracha. Don't eat the tuna fish sandwich. Eat the tuna without the bread. But tonight you have a chiyuv to make hamaitzi because you have a chiyuv to eat matzah. You have a chiyuv to make a bari pragafen because you have a chiyuv to make kiddush. You have a chiyuv of gal Yisrael and hagefen on the kosheni because you have a chiyuv of kosheni. Then the concept of kol Yisrael arevim zelozeh kicks in. That's the concept of arvus. The concept of arvus is kol Yisrael arevim zelozeh. We're all connected and we're all linked. If you have a chiyuv to eat matzah, and I have a way to help you to eat that matzah, and I don't help you, then even if I ate my matzah, because you did not eat your matzah, it's as if I'm not yotzeh to a certain extent. I have an obligation to help you be able to fulfill your obligation. So I could be mitzi you in the berchas hanenin component of your mitzvah. So I could be mitzi you in the hagafen. I could be mitzi you in the hamaitzi. I could be mitzi you in the bari priya adama on the karpas. The karpas is a little bit more interesting because the karpas is like borderline minig mitzvah, but yet the Mefarshim say that even the karpas, nobody's eating the karpas because, wow, they can't wait to eat the potato dipped in salt water. That's not why they're eating the karpas, especially the ones who eat celery. They're eating the karpas because it's a mitzvah of karpas. So it's all done for mitzvah. As long as it's a mitzvah, the concept of arvus comes in. And once the concept of arvus comes in, I could be mitzi you in your chiyuv. So like the Mishnah Berurah says here, Hilkach, therefore, yachal avarek lahitzi acherim ashe. In these cases, you could be mitzi somebody else, even in the berchas hanenin component of the mitzvahs. The chein berchas hayirokos. And so too by the karpas, even though it's a minig. Chashiv gam kein mitzvah. We also look at it as a mitzvah. The yachal lahitzi acherim, and you could be mitzi other people in that bracha. I see I wrote down footnote 3 and footnote 4. I have a funny feeling, essentially, I spoke them out already, but let me just take a quick look. What's here? Yeah, arvus. The point is because of arvus. Yeah. And karpas, yeah. Okay, so we really covered footnote 3 and footnote 4. Okay, Mishnah Berurah is cutting hay, yarki. When the Mishnah Berurah writes that they'll eat the vegetables, he's referring hainu karpas umar. He's referring to the karpas and the mar. Ice cotton vav. Ve'ihu lo yachil. The Rav, or whoever it is, the family member that's reciting the brachas, he's not going to eat anything. He can't eat anything because he finished his Seder at home. So that means he already ate his afikomen at home. He's not allowed to eat anything now because he already ate the afikomen. He's also not allowed to drink anything. If this person did exactly the way the Shulchan Aruch wrote, that he went through his Seder until after Birkas Hamazon and after the Kais Shlishi, then he's holding between the Kais Shlishi and the Kais Revi, and between the Kais Shlishi and the Kais Revi, you're not even allowed to drink. So he can't eat, he can't drink. The individual sitting around the table, they should bench. Lechatchila, we want them, well, not only lechatchila, even b'diavad, they have to bench. You see, over here, suddenly it's different. The person running the Seder for them can be mitzi them in Kiddush. He could be mitzi them in a Bari Priya Adama. He cannot be mitzi them in benching. Benching they have to do themselves. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Aval hu also levarech b'shvilam birkas hamazon. He cannot recite birkas hamazon for them. He can't be mitzi them in birkas hamazon. Why? The birkas hamazon ein lahitzi acher. You cannot be mitzi somebody else in birkas hamazon. Unless you also ate and you also have a chiyuv of birkas hamazon. If you have a chiyuv of benching, you could be mitzi somebody else in benching. But if you ate at home and you benched at home, and now you're running the Seder for them, you cannot be mitzi them in benching. Why not? Says the Chavetz Chaim, Tiksiv, because by benching we have a pasuk that says clearly, Va'achalta v'savata uveirachta. You shall eat, you shall be satisfied, and you shall bench. You shall make the bracha. If you didn't eat and you're not satisfied, you can't bench. Misha achal hu yavarich. The one who ate has to bench. So what do you do if they don't know how to bench? So now we go to Ois Katan Ches. Yikra mila b'mila. You should read benching together with them, one word at a time. Baruch, Baruch, Ata, Ata, Hashem, Hashem. With the shame. You say Hashem's name. Vehem yanu acharav. They repeat after you. The kol shekairei mila b'mila. Anytime you do this, when you have somebody repeating word after word, v'ha'acher oine imai, lo yehavi bracha levatala. That does not constitute you making a bracha levatala. Afal pisha yotza mikvar. Even though you were already yotza yochiv of benching, still you are not making a bracha levatala, and you're not saying a shame levatala. Taharehu rak melamdoi levarech. Because what you are doing is you're teaching somebody how to do something, and that is okay. Now, let's take a look over here at two footnotes, footnote 6 and footnote 8. So we had over here, the Mishnah Berurah explained to us that benching is different, and that you cannot be mitzi somebody in benching unless you also ate and have a chiyuv to bench. Footnote 6, ubir le'el. The Mishnah Berurah spoke earlier in Siman Kav Tzadik Zayin Sivkat Chav Dalet. Sha'af shemida araisa yakal humidin arvus loitzias kavera gam bebirkas hamazon. We spoke earlier about arvus. We said that you can make kiddush for somebody, and we might see him in kiddush, even though you already fulfilled your obligation of kiddush. Why? Because of arvus. If he needs to make kiddush, I have a chiyuv, I have an obligation to help him make kiddush. If not, my mitzvah observance is lacking. So why isn't that the same by benching? By benching, it should also be the same. So the Mishnah Berurah indeed in Kav Tzadik Zayin says that really by benching midaraisa, it is the same. Arvus works by benching as well. I have a chiyuv of arvus to help you bench. Sheken kol davar shechaver chayiv boy midin arvus dechshav shegam hu chayiv boy. I have an obligation. I have a chiyuv to help you fulfill your obligation. Yikamakam, nevertheless, midarabanan ein loy lahaitzias chaveroi bebirkas hamazon. The chachamim midrabanan. This is a din derabanan that you're not supposed to bench for somebody. Ela imken gam hu mechuyev levarech, and they rely on that pasuk of achalta v'savato ve'rachta. That's the source for this din. Now we go to footnote number 8. So the Mishnah Berurah said that if you have somebody repeating after you, making a bracha like benching, so you're even allowed to say Hashem's name, and it's not considered that you're making a bracha levatala. Even though you have absolutely no chiyuv to bench, you didn't eat. So how are you saying benching now? How are you reciting birkas hamazon with Hashem's name. So the Chafetz Chaim told us, no, that's okay. You're allowed to do that kedei lelamed, to teach somebody. Footnote number 8 says, "V'chein kishem melamed tinoikos levarich brachos." When you're teaching children how to make brachos, kedei lahargilam bekach, to train them and get used to the proper recitation of brachos. Kasav le'el, we learned earlier, Siman Reish Tes Vav Sivkat Yudalad, shemuter loy lahazkir es Hashem, that you're allowed to say the Shem Hashem. Ve'ein zeh levatorah, and that is not considered in any way to be a Shem levatorah. Shaharei al karchach tzrichim lilmoidi mohem, because you have to teach them how to do it. Kedei lechancham b'limud haTorah, to train them properly, give them proper chinuch in limud haTorah, uvekiyam mitzvos, u'kemoshe kasav u'limadet temoisam es b'neichem. You have an obligation midaraisa to teach them how to perform mitzvahs properly. So you're required to do it the proper way. This is, people laugh about it, but a lot of people don't realize this halacha. And when they teach kids, they go, Baruch, Ata, Ado, Elo. And you know what happens? Later on, the kids go, Baruch, Ata, Ado, Elo. Or the classic case is by the bar mitzvah bacher in shul, who gets up by the haTorah and he goes, Baruch atah Hashem, and everybody go, oh. Why? Because when the bar mitzvah lesson person was learning with him, he kept saying Baruch atah Hashem, Baruch atah Hashem, Baruch atah Hashem. The halacha is you're allowed to use Hashem's name. Now, I'm not saying that you should just throw around Hashem's name. It's certainly very serious not to say Hashem levatala, but within reason, it's proper to use Hashem's name to train the children properly and the proper recitation of a bracha. And I'll tell you something else. It is also important to train somebody in the proper pronunciation of Hashem's name. That's also very critical. I had a situation once by a simcha where there was a bacher who wanted to lein in shul, not a bar mitzvah. It was a different simcha. There were a lot of guests coming to shul, and there was a bacher who wanted to lein. I think it was his bar mitzvah parsha. He was already 16 years old, 15, 16 years old, but he wanted to lein his bar mitzvah parsha. So I was asked to listen to him lein, and I listened to his laning, and he laned quite nicely, but he did not know how to pronounce the Shem Hashem. I remember when he laned, he said, instead of saying the Shem properly, Ado Noi, he said Adnoi. And he really did not say the Shem properly. You're not going to be Yitzhak Kriyas haTorah. So I had to sit with him for 3-4 days. I had to sit with him and I had to train him how to properly pronounce Hashem's name, to say it clearly and to say it properly so that the people should be Yitzhak Kriyas haTorah. So it's important to teach people how to properly enunciate and pronounce the Shem Hashem. The only way you're going to do that is by saying the Shem Hashem for them and with them. So certainly you're allowed to do that. There's nothing wrong. Kedei lelamed, it is mutter. Okay, let's go weiter. Ois cotton tess. Ois cotton tess. We did not do yet. Okay, so now we go back up to the Shulchan Aruch. We're up to the, we finished the third line. By me, it's the first line, the first word on the fourth line of the Shulchan Aruch. So he did his own Seder. Then he went around, he went Seder hopping. He went to other homes and he ran the Seder in the other homes. Now says the Shulchan Aruch, V'hadar ozal lebeisei. Now he could go back to his own home. V'gamar halela, and he could finish Hallel. V'shasi kasa da halela, and he could drink the third kais, which is done over Hallel. Okay. Now let's say the Rav, or whoever this is, he doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to go home and run his own Seder first. Maybe he's worried that he's going to end up going home and he's going to feel pressured. He's going to have a rushed Seder because he knows he has to go to 3-4 other homes to run Sedarim in those homes. So what he would rather do is, he would rather go to those homes, run the Sedarim in those homes, and then come home and be ruhig, be relaxed, and know that he could take his time in his own Seder. So says the Shulchan Aruch, if he wants to run the Sedarim in the other homes first, he can do that as well. Baruch lahu, he could go to those homes and he could make kiddush and all of the other brachas for them. V'loy achil, v'loy ta'im, and he should not eat and he should not drink. He shouldn't taste anything. So again, he's going to make kiddush with a hagafen, and he's not going to drink. He's going to make adama karpas to be mitzi them, and he's not going to eat karpas. V'hadar ozal abeisei, and then he could go home to his own house, or mekadesh, and then he can make kiddush for himself and his family. Says the Mishnah Berurah, a nice cut and test. V'loy achil, he'll make kiddush and make all the brachas in those other homes, and he will not eat anything. And says the Mishnah Berurah, v'aser litime. Not only he should not eat, he's not allowed to eat. V'aser litime kaidim kiddush. Even though he's going to recite kiddush in these other homes, he's not doing it to be yaitza kiddush. He's doing it to be mitzi them, but he's not fulfilling his own obligation with the recitation of that kiddush. K'maisha kasav reish ayin aleph sif dalid. Like we said earlier in reish ayin aleph, that you're not allowed to taste anything before you make kiddush. V'im yechaven lotzes gam kein b'ha kiddush. Now, let's say he goes to these other homes and he says, you know what, I'm making kiddush. I might as well be yaitz to the chiv of kiddush now. So, okay, I'll make kiddush again later maybe, but I'll be yaitz to kiddush already now. Oh, not so simple. If he's going to be yaitze his requirement of kiddush with the kiddush that he's making for the people in this other home, no, yitztarach lechol sham kizayis. Now he's going to have to eat a kizayis of matzah in that home because you need kiddush b'makom suda. Kiddush carries with it a requirement that together with kiddush you have to have a suda. So if he made kiddush, now he has to have a suda. So he has to eat a kizayis of matzah. Oh, well, now he's also going to have to bench. Kamkein. Okay. That also, it didn't strike me when I learned this before, but I'm just thinking now, even though the Chavetz Chaim doesn't spell it out here, but he's really going to cause himself a problem, because if he makes kiddush now in this other home, and he has das to be yaitze kiddush now, so then, like the Chavetz Chaim said, he's going to have to wash, and he's going to have to eat a kazayis of matzah. Now that's going to be a problem, because if he eats a kazayis of shmura matzah, he's going to have to make the bracha of alachilas matzah now, and he's going to have to be yaitze the mitzvah of alachilas matzah now, because like we said yesterday, he can't just make a hamoitzi and eat shmura matzah and have das, I'm not being yaitz to the mitzvah now, and then go home and make another, and then make a bracha of alachilas matzah to be yaitz to the mitzvah later in his house. He can't do that because, like we said yesterday, memali adam kreisai the matzah. You're going to fill yourself up on shmura matzah that's usable, that's eligible to be mekayim the mitzvah of achilas matzah. You're going to eat plenty of it now, and then later you're going to eat it again, and now make a bracha of alachilas matzah. You can't do that. That doesn't seem right. If you're eating matzah shel mitzvah now, you got to make the bracha now. So he would have to run his whole seder in the house that he's going to first. So that's why we're saying over here he should make kiddush, he should make all the brachas, but not eat and not drink. And when he finishes, he'll go home and he'll make his own seder. Ice cotton yud. No, we got to go back up to the Shulchan Aruch. V'im yirtzeh. If this individual wants, Yigmar Hakol Bebeisai, like I spoke at earlier, he doesn't have to stop his own Seder in his own house after Koshlishi, after benching, then go Seder hopping, then come back home and finish. He could finish his whole Seder first in his own house. If he wants, Yigmar Hakol Bebeisai, he could finish his entire Seder in his own home, and then go run the starim in the other houses, and not eat or drink together with them. Okay, ice cotton yud yigmar akayla filo halel v'loyochal v'yishta kanal b'siv cotton vav. That concludes Siman Tov Pei Daled. Now let's turn to Siman Tov Pei Hey so we can finish Tzadik Aleph Amud Beis. Tov Pei Hey. Din misha nishba shaloi lechol matzah. The very odd case of somebody who made an oath, he made a shavua that he is not going to eat matzah. Uboy sif echad, and here we have one sif. Says the Mechaber. Amar, somebody says, shavua shaloi oichel matzah Stam. Somebody makes a shvua and he says, I'm making a shvua that I will not eat any matzah. Now he makes this shvua, the Mechaber says, stam. What does that mean, stam? He does not specify, I'm not going to eat matzah shel mitzvah. He says, I'm making a shvua that I will not eat matzah. Flat. I'm not going to eat any matzah. Then the halacha is, Aser lechol matzah b'leil Pesach. He's not allowed to eat matzah on the Pesach night. He's going to be mevatel this mitzvah aseh of achilas matzah. He's not allowed to eat matzah. However, Amar shvua shaloi oichel matzah b'leil Pesach. If somebody makes a shvua, I will not eat matzah on Pesach night, on the Seder night, then loike, he's going to get malchus v'oichel matzah b'leil Pesach. But he's going to have a chiyuv to eat matzah by the Seder. So he's going to get malchus for eating the matzah because he made a shvua that he's not going to eat matzah, and he's going to eat it. But he's allowed to eat it, and he has to eat it. What's the difference between these two cases? So just to be clear, in the first case, he didn't make a shvua that he's not going to eat matzah Pesach night. He didn't make a shvua that I'm not going to eat matzah shel mitzvah. He made a shvua, I will not eat matzah. In the second case, he made a shvua, I will not eat matzah on the Seder night. That means he's making a shvua that he will not eat matzah shel mitzvah. Why is the halacha different in both cases? Let's see in the Mishnah Berurah. Says the Mishnah Berurah is cut in aleph. Shelo yochel matzah stam. In the first case, this fellow made a shvua, I will not eat matzah. I will not eat any matzah. I will not eat matzah. Beinim amar zeh koydem Pesach. Doesn't matter if he made this shvua 2 months before Pesach. Bein amar b'leil Pesach gufa. Or maybe he made this shvua by the Seder. But his shvua was, I will not eat matzah. It wasn't, I will not eat matzah tonight, or I will not eat matzah shel mitzvah. Just, I will not eat matzah. That shvua is chal. That shvua is chal. That shvua is a valid shvua. It takes effect, and he will not be allowed to eat matzah. Why? Kevan deloy amar b'shvuasai demishtaba. Rak amatzas mitzvah, since when he made this shvua, he did not specify matzah shel mitzvah. He did not specify matzah on the Seder night. Ela koilel b'shvuasai kol matzah. Rather, he incorporated and included in his shvua any and all matzah. I will not eat matzah, period. V'lav davka matzah shalayla lazu. He didn't specify that I'm speaking about tonight's matzah, Pesach matzah, the matzah shel mitzvah, chayla shvuasai. Then the halacha is that his shvua does take effect. Why? The shvua chal, because the shvua is chal, it does take effect. But koilel dvarim hamutarim, if somebody incorporates and includes things that are mutter, things that are voluntary. If you want, eat them. If you don't want, you don't eat them. But it's mutter to make a shvua that you're not going to do that thing. Im dvarim ha'asurim, together with things that would normally be aser b'sheva al taisa, if they're an iser that you're over passively. So what happened over here? Over here, he made a shvua, I will not eat any matzah. Now, let's say he made that shvua on the Tuesday before Pesach. So he said, I'm making a shvua, I'm not going to eat matzah. Well, part of that shvua is, I'm not going to eat matzah on Tuesday afternoon, a week before Pesach. That's mutter. You're allowed to make that shvua. You want to make a shvua, you're not going to eat matzah on Tuesday afternoon, a week before Pesach, go ahead. I'm not recommending it, but there's no iser involved in that shvua. That was one component of the shvua. But included in that shvua also is that I'm going to be over an iser, because I'm also making a shvua. My shvua includes that I also will not eat matzah on Pesach night, which means I'm going to be mevatel the aseh of achilas matzah. That's aser. But you incorporated a davar mutter. You incorporated not eating matzah on Tuesday afternoon, a week before Pesach, together with not eating matzah on the Seder night, where you're going to be over an iser passively. By sitting in your chair and not doing anything, by not eating matzah, you're going to be over an iser. That kind of shvua is chal. It takes effect. So the shvua takes effect, and now you can't eat matzah by the Seder, and you're going to be mevatel the mitzvah of achilas matzah. For this reason, since you're going to be mevatel and aseh, kasra paiskim, the paiskim right, the mitzvah lahatir shvuasai, that there's a specific mitzvah to go to a chacham and be matir the shvua, kedei sheyuchal lekayim mitzvos aseh achilas matzah, so that you should be able to be mekayim your chiyuv, the mitzvos aseh of achilas matzah. That's the first case. The second case was the fellow made a shvua that he's not going to eat matzah b'leil Pesach, on Pesach night. Ice cotton bays, the bottom line of Tzadik Aleph Amud Beis. Now the shvua is not chal. Why is the shvua not chal? The kevan the amar leil Pesach. Since he made a shvua that he's not going to eat matzah Pesach night, even though he did not specify matzah shel mitzvah, but he said, I'm not going to eat matzah Pesach night. We assume that the intent of that is on the matzah shel mitzvah. What's the primary matzah of Pesach night? It's the matzah shel mitzvah. So if you make a shvua, I'm not going to eat matzah Pesach night, that is akin to making a shvua, I'm not going to eat matzah shel mitzvah. In that case, it's cut in gimel, loike. Then the mechaber said he gets malchus. What's he getting malchus for? Mishum shvua shav. He made a shvua in vain. He made a ridiculous shvua. Dein shvua chalal dvar mitzvah. Because a shvua doesn't take effect when you make a shvua on a dvar mitzvah. You make a shvua, I'm not going to put on tefillin. That shvua doesn't take effect. You know why it doesn't take effect? Because you're mushba v'ayimid mahar Sinai. You already have the obligation of a shvua on yourself to put on tefillin that you made at Har Sinai. When you stood by Har Sinai, we say everybody, all the future generations were by Har Sinai. So when you were by Har Sinai and you were Makawal the Torah, that came together with the shvua that you're going to be Makayim the Torah. So you're mushba v'ayimid mahar Sinai that you're going to eat matzah on the Seder night. Now you get up and you make another shvua. I'm not going to eat matzah on Seder night. That shvua, that second shvua is not chal. It doesn't go up against the first shvua. So that shvua is not chal. So it's a shvua shav, and you get malchus for shvua shav. And you got to eat the matzah. Nevertheless, the Chavetz Chaim says, if somebody uses the language of a neder, two very different dinim, shvua and neder. A neder, this lashon of kainam achilas matzah mitzvah alai. The word kainam is a what's the word I'm looking for? Is a the English word just fell off of my lips. It's another word for carbon. We know that when you're mekadesh an animal as a carbon, that animal is now usher to you. It's prohibited to you. So kainam is a neder. Somebody says matzah should be to me like a carbon. Same way a carbon would be usher b'hana to me, the matzah is also usher b'hana. That means he's making a neder not to have any hana for matzah. So if somebody makes a neder that he's not going to eat matzah, that's a different din than shvua. Then usher b'achilas matzah, then he's not allowed to eat matzah. The neder chal advar mitzvah, because different than a shvua does not take effect on a dvar mitzvah, but a neder does. Imamar, somebody says shvua shelo yochel marar shel mitzvah. Let's say somebody makes a shvua that he's not going to eat the marar of the mitzvah. He's not going to eat marar the Seder night. Aser ba'achilas marar. Then he's not allowed to eat marar. Even though over here he did not include mutter components and isser components. Over here, he's made a shvua specifically on a dvar mitzvah, which we said by the matzah, the shvua is not chal. By the marar, the shvua is chal. Why? The marar bisman hazeh d'Rabbanan. Because like we've pointed out many times, nowadays that we don't have a carbon pesach, the mitzvah of marar is only a mitzvah d'Rabbanan. U'shvua chayla mitzvah d'Rabbanan. And a shvua is chal on a d'Rabbanan. Same thing if somebody makes a shvua that he will not drink the dalit kaisais. That's also a d'Rabbanan. So the shvua is chal on the d'Rabbanan. Nevertheless, we force him that he should go to a chacham and he should be released from his shvua, so that he should be able to be kind the mitzvah d'Rabbanan. So too, if somebody makes a shvua that he will not eat matzah by the second Seder, on the second Seder night, the matzah is also only a d'Rabbanan. L'didan for us to be kiyanan b'kfiyah d'yarcha, because we don't really have a sveika d'yoma. We know the calendar, so we know which night is really Yom Tov. The second night is not mishum sveika. The second night is minig aviseinu b'yadenu. So that's really only d'Rabbanan. In that case as well, we would force him to go to a chacham and be matir his shvua. That concludes Siman Taf Pei Hey. Baruch Hashem, we're maintaining the schedule. We'll pick up tomorrow with Siman Taf Pei Vav. Thank you so much for joining me for limud haTorah. The schus of limud haTorah should stand us and Gans Klal Yisrael in good stead. The Rabbanim Shalom should send Yeshuas and Refuas to everyone. The Rabbanim Shalom should send Parnasa to all those in need. The Rabbanim Shalom should take care of everyone. You should be Megan on Gans Klal Yisrael. We should be Zeicha together to see not just to the end of this tzara. We should be Zeicha to be able to go back to the shuls and the Bate Midrashim and have the shiurim live. And we should be even more. We should be Zeicha to the Bias Koel Tzedek. We should hear Shir in Yerushalayim. Be well.